You didn't actually think that Manchester United were going to lose to Chelsea at Old Trafford, did you? Manchester United 2, Chelsea 1. Manchester United picking up a very important 3 points, and there are an abundance of things to talk about in this match, from the Robert Sanchez red card to the Casemiro red card to the United goals, the Chelsea goals, what both teams look like when they were 10 aside. And we're going to break it all down. So, as always, make sure to grab your coffee, grab your tea, grab your espresso, and let's get into the video. So let's take a look at the lineups. Obviously for Manchester United, Ty Bayender keeps his position in goal. The back three, Luke Shaw, Harry Maguire, and Matthijs de Ligt. The four across midfield is Dorgu, Bruno, Casemiro, Mazraoui, Ahmad, Esco, and Mbumo make up the front line. For Chelsea, the typical 4-2-3-1 with Sanchez in goal. The fullbacks were Cucurella and Reece James. Two center halves, Chalobah and Fofana. The two in the pivot were Enzo and Caicedo, as per usual. Palmer in the 10, Pedro Neto and Estevao as the wide players, and João Pedro in the 9. When talking about Manchester United specifically here, I was quite not surprised because I've come to expect this from Ruben, but once again, going Mazraoui as the wing back, playing Ahmad in the left 10, no Kobe again. There were definitely some question marks, and I knew if the result didn't go the way that Manchester United needed to go, and specifically Ruben Amorim needed to go, once again, the questions were only going to get louder and louder. But this was a crazy 90 minutes of football. So let's get into what exactly went right and what exactly went wrong for Manchester United at Old Trafford on Saturday. So firstly, obviously, we have to start with the Chelsea red card, and then we're going to move into the two goals that Manchester United scored when Chelsea were a man down. And this is exactly why Benjamin Sesko started. No, not because he was going to guarantee a red card for Chelsea, but with the way Manchester United play, and we've spoke about this at length, the ability to go long, the ability to be direct, to hit the ball into your number 9, and for him to have the ability and the athleticism to get up and win that knock-on, Bryan Mbeumo has gotten on the inside here, and we all know what happened. Sesko wins the ball forward. Mbeumo ends up 1v1 with Sanchez. Sanchez takes him out, and it's an automatic straight red card. There's no questions about it. Obviously, really frustrating for Chelsea. You could see how frustrated Maresca was as soon as it happened. You know, realistically, it's better for him to let Bryan Mbeumo score in that moment and play the next 85 minutes with 11 men. But I also think it's difficult in the heat of the moment in these football matches. You know, I don't think a goalie's thinking about that. The goalie's thinking, how can I stop this player from scoring a goal? Unfortunate for Robert Sanchez, it's a mistake, and he really put his team on the back foot for the entire of the 90 minutes. But again, it's great play for Manchester United, and it shows that you don't have to be one of those sides that build up with 15, 20 passes to have that success. It's one ball long into the to the number 9, which is Sesko. He plays a knock-on. Bryan Mbeumo wins United a free kick, and more importantly, gets Sanchez sent off. Now let's take a look at the first goal. And I really liked the pressure that Manchester United were applying, even in the first 5 minutes before the red card. And of course, with a man up, it makes it even easier to squeeze the opposition because the numerical disadvantage that they have. And United were doing a really good job of pinning Chelsea in their own third and winning the ball high up the pitch. And again, these are the moments that it doesn't necessarily come down to the tactics or the formation. This is just the willingness of the players, and this is what's really important. So Ahmad goes there, he wins the ball. They've all gone to squeeze and press high. You can see how high Luke Shaw is. Again, he's a left center half. Mazraoui's up the pitch. Dorgu's up the pitch. Ahmad, they're all squeezing. They're all trying to turn the ball over and create a chance quickly. United end up getting the ball out wide to Mazraoui, and I thought, again, Mazraoui was brilliant in this match. I thought everybody in the back five was top. Dorgu, Shaw, Maguire, and de Ligt. Of course, it makes it easier when Chelsea have a man down, but I thought even when it went 10v10, and we're going to talk about it, I thought they were brilliant. But this is what I spoke about a lot in the City game, and Ruben Amorim actually touched on it as well. There were too many moments where United would get the ball into the wide areas. Against City, I saw a lot of this. It was United would get the ball into wide areas, either Mazraoui or Dorgu. And when they were looking to hit the ball into the box to create an opportunity, It was Sesko against the back four of City. There was no chance, there was no possibility that United were ever going to win a challenge in the air, regardless of the fact that Sesko is good in the air, because 1v5 is never going to work. And Ruben Amorim alluded to, we need to get more numbers in the box. And that's exactly what they did for the first goal. Mazraoui's 1v1 here with Cucurella. And his first idea is I need to get this ball into the box because I have Sesko, I have Bruno, I have Ahmad, and I have Brian Mbumo in the box. And, you know, when you put the ball into these dangerous areas, things are going to happen. The ball is lofted up into Dorgu, and it's a good header into a very dangerous area. Obviously, Chalaba is just behind Sesko there. He's kind of has him pinned. But Bruno being, you know, that player who likes to make those lay runs into the box, who knows where to find those areas, in the box, gets in behind, times his run to perfection. It looked offside, but they gave the goal. And just like that, United are up 1-0 and they're cruising. Obviously, at home against the 10-man side, it's a great start. And you couldn't really ask for anything better. Now for the second goal, I don't even really want to break down the passage of play that got us here. I just want you to take a look at Luke Shaw. Look where Luke Shaw is when Patrick Dorgu gets his head on this ball. Lofts it high in the air. Again, there's chaos. Sesko, Maguire, Casemiro, Bruno. There's chaos. There's numbers. There's bodies. Look where Shaw ends up. This goal doesn't happen if Shaw doesn't go from this position here to this position here. He runs into the space and he's essentially saying, I want this ball more than anybody in this box. I'm going to go up and get it. Obviously, the ball finds its way to Casemiro. He scores and it's 2-0. I bring this up for one specific reason. So often nowadays, football is spoken about purely about tactics, formations, setups, whether it's the pressing of a side, whether it's the rest defense of a side, whether they set up with 3 in midfield, whether they set up with 4 in midfield, whether they play with wing backs, whether they invert the fullbacks. And it's all important, of course. That's why the top managers of world football make so much money, because they have such a big impact. But if you're not going to win your duels, tactics mean nothing. These 2 goals don't necessarily come from hours and hours of work on the training ground. These 2 goals, in my opinion, come from winning your duels, being the first to the ball, and just having that mentality that, you know what, regardless of what happens, I'm going to get there before any player in blue gets there, and I'm going to create an opportunity for my team. And I think this is what Manchester United have been lacking massively. And it's not just the only thing. There are issues, and we're going to talk about the issues, but this is what you need from your players. You need all in, all the time, and I saw it from Manchester United on these 2 goals. Now I want to talk about the center halves being super aggressive, specifically the wide center halves in their role in the system. And I want to talk about Matthijs de Ligt. Again, this guy is incredible. And he has his moments. Is he the best on the ball? Is he the best progressive passer? No. But I mean, this was a man mountain in this performance against Chelsea, both when we were with 11 and then when Casemiro got sent off and we were with 10. De Ligt was, for me, the man of the match in this game. So you can see here, again, it does make it a little bit easier. Chelsea are down to 10 men already. But look at the positions of De Ligt and Maguire. As soon as the ball gets played into one of Chelsea's midfielders, they're both ready to create that jump. Now, when this is timed correctly, which is why Ruben Amorim depends on athletic wide center halves to be able to close that gap and jump, really compress the spaces, so it's very difficult for the opposition to play through the lines, it can work. However, when the jump is late from even one of the center halves, it makes it extremely difficult for the system to work, for the setup to work. But I thought that both of these center halves, whether it was Shaw or here was Maguire stepping up, De Ligt especially, I thought they did a really good job. They closed the spaces, as you can see, very tight to their men, and it makes it very easy. It makes it very difficult, for the opposition to get on the half turn and play forward. Again, look at the position that Manchester United center half is taking up here. He's essentially acting as another midfielder in this game. Look at the position he's in here, and look how tight he gets to his man, and he's not letting him basically turn anyway. And he's essentially saying, you're not going to get on the turn and run forward. You have to pass backwards, and you can see how all United did to press. Again, there's a caveat to this, and the caveat being that Chelsea were a man down, but, you have to play the circumstances. You did the job of getting Chelsea sent off, and now you have to make them pay for it. And I thought in the first half, United were the completely dominant team and realistically should have been 3-4 up, and we're going to get into that as well. Speaking of being 3-4 up, let's talk about the missed opportunities. And this is becoming a reoccurring theme with Manchester United. I said it against Burnley. We should have been up 3-4 nothing going into halftime, and we weren't. We had missed chances against Arsenal. I feel like the only game we didn't really have any really big missed chances was against Manchester City. But this is becoming a bit of a problem. Here, Ahmad does the great work of pressing high off of a loose touch from Fofana, and United are in. And this picture doesn't even really do it justice because by now, Sesko has already realized that Ahmad's not looking to play to him first time, so he starts opening up his body to anticipate a cross. But if you rewind this clip even a second earlier, if Ahmad just fizzes the ball into Sesko, it's essentially an empty goal. And Sesko has an empty net to aim at. I don't know what Ahmad's doing here, looking to get Mbumo in behind. You can see Chalaba just trailing, But this is a situation where you've done the work, you've squeezed Chelsea high up the pitch, you force a turnover, brilliant. Now can we score? And the answer to that question on this exact moment is no. Again here, Chelsea turned the ball over. Maguire fizzes a gorgeous pass through the lines into Sesko, and Sesko does the right thing here. Instead of trying to turn and face, he lays it off to Bruno, and Bruno's the perfect man here, and now it's time to play that third man combination, passing behind to Ahmad, because you're going to see the amount of space he's in. Bruno chooses the wrong pass, or maybe not even the wrong pass. This could have been the right pass, but he plays it behind Sesko. This ball either needs to get in front of Sesko so he can run onto it and strike it far post, and it's 3-0, again, game over, or he needs to lay it off to Ahmad, and it's 3-0, game over. This game shouldn't have even been close, but like Ruben Amorim said in the presser, Manchester United right now especially, we just like to make it hard on ourselves. Again, this is a good bit of football. Dorgu does a good job of dragging Reece James into this pocket here, plays the ball around the corner, and I thought Dorgu was really good at playing that ball around the corner in this game and attacking the space. And here, this is a good opportunity, and it's a weak cross into Ahmad, and I believe it's Cucurella who clears it. But United have to be more clinical. When you get into these situations, it's a 4v3 here. We really have to make it count, and we, once again, didn't. Again here, Dorgu, brilliant, sees Cunha running into the channel, and he finds him. He plays the ball, I believe it's through Reece James's legs, and, United are in a good space. But Mateus Cunha, instead of waiting for the overlap, and Dorgu, I thought, did brilliant to get into that overlap, Cunha tries to play a pass into Bruno Fernandes. It's a little bit behind them, and Chelsea go and they counter. And these little moments where we need to have that know-how to really see out a game, we seem to be lacking it in the critical and key moments of football matches, and it was no different against Chelsea on Saturday. Now, I want to talk about Casemiro's red card because I do think it's a sending off, and it's just extremely silly. But there's a moment before the red card that I really want to talk about that I haven't really seen many people talk about, and I think it's important that we talk about it. This is 10 seconds before Casemiro gets sent off. The ball falls to Ahmad's feet, and I just want you to look at this. Sesko is forcing the Chelsea center half back because obviously he's making that run into the channel. He sees that space in behind. He wants the ball played in behind. And I don't even think that's the right pass, but it's the right run. Create that space. Mbumo, you can see at the bottom of your screen, Cucurella is way pushed up. Chalaba is responsible for marking him in the transition moment. And Fofana is already starting to retreat, and he's going to try and delay Ahmad as much as he can. The right pass here, and the pass that has to come off here, is Bruno Fernandes. It's a 4v3. If Ahmad gets the ball into Bruno, it's a 4v3. Chalaba has to be wary of Mbumo. I believe that's Tosin, who is responsible for the run in behind of Sesko. Again, Fofana is responsible for Ahmad, and Bruno is the free man. It's a 4v3, and this should be, again, at least a chance for Manchester United. What happens? Ahmad tries a ball over the top to Mbumo. It's short. I believe it's Chalaba or Cucurella. I'm not exactly sure who cuts it out. And just like that, Chelsea are transitioning back to offense. Now you can see United are looking to retreat. The licks on the other side, and there are spaces in between the lines here for Caicedo to play through. The ball gets played into this area, and we all know what happens here. Casemiro holds, I believe it was Santos, he holds him up, and he gets booked. And in a game where there should be no doubt that United are getting the 3 points, Casemiro gets sent off. It's 10 aside, going into halftime, and now Chelsea have full belief, especially because of what Manchester United's season has started like. They have full belief that they're going to get back into this game. I could feel it. You could feel it. I'm sure the fans in the stadium very much could feel it. I can only imagine how much those players for Chelsea were feeling it as well. Let's talk about the 10v10 and what it looked like in the shape and how Ruben Amorim kind of adapted the shape to getting a man sent off. So, of course, he brought on Ugarte. He subbed off Sesko. And there was a lot of people who were saying that it was the wrong substitution. I actually think it was the right substitution. I think the only difference he could have made was perhaps changing Ahmad instead of Sesko. But as the game progressed, Mazraoui came off and Ahmad actually went to wing back. So I think that was Ruben Amorim's plan the entire time, which is why he didn't sub him off. But you can see just how aggressive here Manchester United are man-to-man. Again, De Ligt and Luke Shaw, very aggressive. Don't want to give Chelsea any potential passes through the lines. Ugarte really high up there on, I believe that's Caicedo. And I just thought United did a really good job of, keeping everything in front of them. I felt like a lot of, the conversation about the second half was that Chelsea dominated, and I just don't see it that way. Aside from the one ball in behind from Reece James, in which De Ligt had to clear from the 18. I didn't really think Chelsea really asked many questions of Manchester United when it was 10 aside, but the idea or the opinion is that apparently Chelsea dominated in the second half, and I just don't see it that way. But this is what I want to talk about in terms of a major issue, which we've seen time and time again. We've spoke about it against Burnley when they equalized twice. We saw it in the Fulham game when the ball went out wide and United switched off. We saw it in the Grimsby game. We saw it in the City game. This is about 2 minutes before Chelsea scored their only goal of the game. Enzo Fernandez in this pocket of space completely by himself and has all day to get a ball into the box and pick out a man into the box. And United defend this well. They clear their lines. They do a good job, and that's fine. Okay, so you think we've let Enzo get the ball into the 18 without anyone asking any questions of him. Okay, next time the ball gets into that area, we're going to step out to our man and we're going to block the cross. Look at this. Chelsea get a corner and United once again fall asleep. And you cannot let a player of Reece James' quality deliver a ball into your 18-yard box, regardless of the circumstances of the game. You cannot let a player of this quality have this much time, especially off of a short corner. There's 10 minutes left. You're holding a 2-0 lead at home. You know how important the result is. How is it acceptable for you to switch off like this? The answer is it's not. So I'm going to be honest. It is quite hard to take much from this game given the game state. Manchester United played essentially the entire first 45 minutes up a man. And they did well with that. They were up 2-0. They were the dominant side. It, again, should have been 3-4-0 going into halftime. Casemiro should never get sent off. And the game should be not even a question, not even a doubt. But it's the little things that happen. It's Ahmad not playing the ball to Bruno, forcing that ball into Mbumo, Chelsea transitioning, and it all of a sudden turns into a red card situation. It's United not taking their chances. It's United switching off from opposition corners, which allows Chelsea back into the game. Chelsea score a goal. It's 2-1 with 10 minutes left. Everybody's nervous. Everybody's anticipating and waiting for Manchester United to collapse and fall apart. I was waiting for it. I thought for sure the second Chelsea goal was coming. But the important thing is Manchester United got 3 points. 3 points that they needed. There was no question about it after what happened in the City game, what happened in the Derby. There was no question that Manchester United needed to find a way by any means necessary to win this football match, and credit to them, that's what they did. But now this needs to be the start of something. It can't just be Manchester United win this match of football and then they drop points next week, or they win next week and then they drop points the week after. United really need to get on a bit of a run here before the next international break. I think there were some really positive moments from this game. Again, kind of hard to really speak much on it due to the fact of the game being 11 versus 10 for the first half. But I also thought there were some not so good moments. Again, decision-making in the final third really needs to be worked on, really needs to be fixed. And the switching off can't happen against the top teams, against any team in the Premier League, because they're going to punish you for it. But that's it for this one, though. Let me know what you thought of the game in the comments down below. And does this win give you any belief or any hope that this can be the turning points of Manchester United's season? As always, remember to hit the bell notification so you never miss an upload. I appreciate everybody who's been watching the content. That is it for me. That is it for this one. I'll chat to y'all again very soon. Until next time, peace.